Hello, welcome to Enigmatic Play. My name is Greg, I am your host, and today we're going to take a look back because PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, they're here now. They're in people's homes. They are out. People are playing them as we speak. If they manage to get a pre-order, but let's not go into that. Let's not open that kind of worms today. Today, we are going to look back at the last 7 years because Generation 8, PlayStation 4, Xbox One were some of the best years in gaming I've ever had. And I want to give you my top 5 list, my top 5 picks from the last 7 years and tell you what they are. But not only that, I also want to hear your top 5 list as well, down below in the comments. But before we go any further, don't forget to like, subscribe and click that bell icon to keep you up to date with this channel. Check us out over on our Twitch page every week over at Enigmatic Play, all one word, and follow us on Twitter at Enigmatic_UK to keep you up to date with everything Enigmatic. Ed, hit that intro music. Okay, now we've got those formalities out of the way, let's get straight into the bulk of the video. We're starting with number 5, naturally, it's Bloodborne. Okay, so Bloodborne, the reason why Dark Souls 2 sucks ass, but let's not go into that. That's probably a video for a whole other time. Bloodborne came out in 2015. It was very, very different to what FromSoft had done before. Obviously, they'd done Dark Souls. They were in the middle of doing Dark Souls 2. Dark Souls 2. It was a similar gameplay, similar mechanics, but it was a completely different paint job over the top of it. Obviously with all the Victorian architecture and the Lovecraftian themes that were woven into its world. Really, really beautiful. I could talk about all those great things and all that good stuff that it's got going for it, but the reason why it's made my top 5 list is purely for one reason, and that's because of the friends that I've made through this game. I played it back in 2015 by myself like an absolute lunatic and finished it and absolutely loved it. And it was good. It probably wouldn't have made my top 5 list back then. But since then, I've become a content creator. I've met people around all the world, people who had already played Bloodborne, people who were getting into it. It became our game within our community. The story aspect, again, like most FromSoft games, it is lacking, but the lore is seriously deep. We've got hunters all over the world. I love spending time with them on this game. They helped me get the Platinum Trophy. That was one thing I would never have even thought about doing back in 2015, was getting the Bloodborne Platinum Trophy. But sure enough, here I was, getting it alongside friends, and it was just an incredible, incredible feeling. A sense of community, a sense of this game can really fuck you up. So let's get fucked up together, if that makes sense. And I think that's the reason why it's really up there for me, if it wasn't for that community sense that it gives you. So there we go, guys. And number 5, it is Bloodborne. Okay, coming in fast with number 4, it's God of War.
The responsibility is far greater.
Can you kill something that big?
Okay, I really apologise about the cheese just then. So let's discuss God of War. Now, what can I say about this game that hasn't already been said by other content creators out there, by all the other critics out there? It's an incredible game. When it first came out in 2018, I hadn't played any of the other previous God of War games. I hadn't played any on PS2, any on the PSP, any on the PS3, none of them. This was my very first introduction into this world and into this character. I obviously knew about his background, and obviously that was all to do with, you know, Greek mythology, etc. and all that beforehand, so I knew who the character was. I just hadn't played any of the games. But so this was my first impression, and from what I can tell, very, very different from all the previous games. New weapons, whole new story, new locations set in Norse mythology, and oh my god, the amount of stuff that I have learnt about Norse mythology and that that I've since actually, after finishing the game, gone back and actually looked at more Norse mythology from other sources, because I'm just so hooked into this world and into these stories that I literally cannot get enough of it. I thought it was going to be higher on the list, but there were a few games that came out sort of towards the back end of the generation that would have been, you know, that just sort of pushed God of War back a little bit for me. Let's talk about the Leviathan axe. I mean, oh my goodness, the weightiness behind this weapon. I love melee combat in most games. You probably will be able to tell with most of the games on this list. Yeah, absolutely love melee combat. And the weight that's behind that Leviathan axe, every time you swing it at an enemy and you feel that resistance as soon as it hits the flesh, the different abilities that you can pick up, the different powers and the different move sets that you can pick up from this game, just make you feel like an absolute badass. And its art direction as well, with the one shot throughout the entire game. The game's about what? I mean, if you just do the main campaign, I think it's about 20 hours long, and you just got that one shot. There's never a camera pan to another character. It's all from the same Kratos perspective. And if we are going to talk about some of the other highlights of this game, we can't go any further without discussing Atreus. Now, okay, it's worth pointing out very quickly that in this next segment, I accidentally referred to Atreus as a fetch quest instead of an escort mission. But I think I edited it out alright, you shouldn't hopefully be able to notice it. So, anyway, back on with the video. When this game was first announced back at E3 a few years ago, people thought, oh, basically the entire game is an escort mission. Let me tell you, Atreus is not President's daughter in Resident Evil 4. He can look after himself. He's a lot more along the lines of Elizabeth from Bioshock Infinite. That kid can look after himself. He will help you take down enemies. You can even control him from almost like a third-party perspective, like, you know, sending out arrows, healing. You know, he will heal you if, you know, you've got sometimes get like a last chance gain at life. That kid can kick ass, and he seriously adds another level. Like, he's not a hindrance, he's there to help you, and you're thankful for him every step of the way. And seeing the father-son bond, their relationship build, because you know Kratos is very distant anyway, and just seeing the bond between Kratos and Atreus build and they become closer throughout this campaign just explains why it was Game of the Year for 2018 and why it absolutely shat on Red Dead Redemption 2. It should have done. It was the right winner. It was absolutely the right choice. It was the best game of that year, and that's why it's on my list. So to confirm, at number 4, it's God of War.
That axe you gotta handle her special.
I know you're a god.
Halfway through the list already, it's number 3, and it's Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. I know, what a surprise. Greg, you've picked 2 FromSoft games in your top 5 list. Who'd have thought it? We all thought it, but anyway, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. Now, we already discussed this game in quite a lot of detail, Ed and I did, back at the very start of this year. There should be a link up for that. It was in our top 5 games list for 2019, and it made it into the number 2 spot earlier on this year. But obviously, this is the whole entire generation, and it's in at number 3 this time. Now, if you want to see what we had to say about this game, because we did discuss about it in great detail, please feel free to go back and watch that. It's a very, very different game. It's a very, very different feel to any previous FromSoft games that have come before it, because it's purely single player. October 2020, it finally had its first big update. Now, you could change your appearance depending on what endings you'd finished in the game, and you could give Sekiro a different appearance. You could go back and face some of your favourite bosses and just fight them again and learn better ways to fight them. It is addictive as hell, and I've since have gone back and replayed Sekiro. I've put so many more hours into it since, and I'm absolutely loving the hell out of this new mode. You know, there's gauntlets as well, so it's got that way of adding that extra little bit of challenge as well for all those real sadistic players out there. It's very different from the rest of the Soulsborne-y type games as well, in the fact that it is purely the gameplay is pretty much single player. You can't get any other players actually into your world to help you with the boss fights. You've got no choice but to learn and practice and learn how to best these boss fights yourself, which is my personal favourite way to play. But I guess it's not for everyone. Back when the game first came out, there's a lot of people asking for them to lower the difficulty curve or create an easy mode, which again, I'm still absolutely in the camp of you should not do that. The developers have every right to do what they want to do, and if they want to create it a challenging game, because that is the whole point of these games, for it to be a challenge, for you to get that sense of adrenaline, that sense of release when you actually finish a boss. You can't lower the difficulty curve, because otherwise the game loses what makes it the game loses its essence. So absolutely the right thing not to introduce an easy mode. It's got so much more replayability now that they've introduced all these new modes, so I'm going to spend a lot more hours into this game. It's good to be back on Sekiro, and it is number 3 on my list. Wow, so only 2 slots left. Wow, what is going to be number 1 and what is going to be number 2? I'm going to make a lot of people upset with this. But at number 2, it's Death Stranding.
Living is no different from being dead if you're all alone. I'm on the beach, Sam. Our beach. The one where I was born. Come and find me.
So Hideo Kojima's flawed masterpiece comes in at number 2, and that's exactly what it is. For me, it is a masterpiece, but it is also flawed. There are a lot of other content creators out there, there's certainly a lot of critics out there over on Metacritic who would disagree with me, and it'll probably be in their top 5 worst lists of games this generation. And you know what? That is absolutely fine. This game is Marmite. It has split gamers' opinions right down the middle, and some people love it, some people hate it, which I'm completely fine with. Me, personally, I'm in the camp of I absolutely love it. Johann and I, we did a video 6 months ago on Death Stranding, 6 months on, as it's obviously now been out for a year, and it's had some changes, it's had a few things reworked, it's not had anything major done to it, it knows what it wants to be. There's no such thing as a perfect video game. It doesn't exist. No. But did the developers, did the directors go out and achieve what they wanted to achieve? Yes, they absolutely did, and I had one hell of a time playing this. There's not much else I can say about this game that I haven't said already in one of our previous videos, or in one of my previous many Death Stranding streams that I've done for the community, trying to convince certain people that it is actually a game and there are game mechanics to it. But yeah, there's nothing else I can really add other than just gush over how much I love it, how different it is to anything else that I've played. Again, like as we discussed in the video with Johann, there are mechanics and there are sort of the stylized type of game that it is that have been done before, but not in this way. It feels very different to anything else I've played. I still go back and jump right into it and play, do a few deliveries, go and take out some BTs, go and invade some mule camps. It's just really good fun just to go back into. One of the best stories ever in a video game. I'm not ashamed to say that I bawled my eyes out at the end of it. I would love to find the time to go back and play it again, but time versus games, guys, is a real thing, and there's stuff coming out all the time. I might go back and play it on the PlayStation 5 when I get my PlayStation 5, whenever that might be, because it did something special for me. It opened up my eyes to the medium of video games. But something about Death Stranding made me realise that there are other people out here playing this game, and there's so much that I want to say about it that I need to get down to paper. I need to see what other people think, and I want to hear what other people have to say about this game. What did you love? What didn't you love? What would you change if you could change anything? And just over the year, with the community, I've met more and more people who love it, and again, I've met more and more people who hate it, and that's fine. Banter's fine, banter's all good, but there's nothing that anyone could say, there's nothing that anybody could ever say that would ever change my opinion about this game. I don't think I'm going to say anything more, and I don't want to sound like I'm repeating myself. I'm going to leave it where it is. Number 2 is Death Stranding.
Close your eyes. Now picture Amelie in her beach. You love her, right? You love her. There it is.
We did it! We made it! We made it to number 1. And guys, I'll be absolutely honest with you. There was only ever going to be one game that topped my list. there we go. The Witcher 3 makes the top of our list. And I've got to be honest with you, it's another one of those games that I've never played any of the previous games of. I never played The Witcher 1, I never played The Witcher 2. I was well aware of The Witcher 2 and I'd seen a lot of the Let's Plays that were out there at the time when this game came out, because it was really good, really well structured, nice linear story, very well detailed, a lot of attention to detail. And what CD Projekt did with The Witcher 3, to take that same level of detail of The Witcher 2, make it open world with that same level of attention to detail and storytelling, and just absolutely nail it. Absolutely nailed it. It was, if there was one game, if there was only ever one game that I could play on PlayStation 4, and I wasn't allowed to play anything else, it would be The Witcher 3. It's as simple as that. It was that one game that I would finish playing late at night, or even the early hours of the morning, wake up the next day and be absolutely desperate to get back onto as quickly as possible, get the day job done and get straight back onto this game. It had me hooked. Some of the biggest open worlds too. I mean, there was like 4 of them. 5 of them include the DLC. The DLCs were like games, were like big enough to be their own games. Absolutely incredible. I mean, they're on sale all the time now. They're like £10, £10, £15. And honestly, if you go and buy this game on sale now, it will be the best £10 to £15 you've ever spent on a game. I guarantee it. Also, we've got to look at the size of the team as well. They built this game on a budget of $80 million. Now, to put that into context, Destiny was $500 million. And they created The Witcher 3 on 80. What? Now the story, if you've not played The Witcher 1, The Witcher 2, admittedly you will be lost. There is a scene that can sort of help you catch up on what happened in the previous games, that you can sort of choose your path, because obviously you make decisions in the first and second game. You have a way in which you can take those decisions so that they are in effect when you play The Witcher 3. So if you decided to kill somebody off in the second game, they're not going to be waltzing around in number 3. There are some really, really good videos that are already out there on the YouTubes that you can go back and you can have it like sort of like a quick 5-minute catch up on the story, so you are not completely lost. And when you come across these characters that you have met in previous games, because it was an Xbox exclusive, this is the first one that came out on PlayStation. Okay, the game is let down slightly by its combat. It is not the best combat in the world. Some of the movement is a little bit weird as well. You just try and sort of strafe a little bit to the left, you end up throwing yourself too much that way because you need to change the sensitivity of the controller. You will have to do that, but let's not take anything away from it. There is no such thing as a perfect video game, like I've said. The game's story is brilliant. It's typical one of those of, you can either join those guys or you can join those guys, and based on the decisions that you make, you can shape the world around you. But where The Witcher 3 really takes it to the next level is in the detail of its side quests. Seriously, the best side quests in any video game ever. Even better than my favourite game of all time, Oblivion. The Witcher 3 side quests easily trump Oblivion side quests. Simple as that. From helping an old woman find her frying pan to there's a tower full of ghosts and you've got to go and inspect as to why it's full of ghosts. The writing in this game and the detail and the characters, all of the NPCs, so much character, so much backstory, so much lore in this video game. Also a lot of sex. There's a lot of sex in this game. There are a lot of boobs, a lot of butts, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's also sex on unicorns. 10 out of 10. Guys, thank you so much for joining me on this video today. I've really enjoyed going through my top 5 games. There's thousands of hours in those video games that I've just discussed. Thousands of hours worth of content for you to enjoy. And I'm super excited to see what the future brings, what Generation 9 brings with the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X. Seriously, some of the games on the Xbox Series X have me super excited. Maybe not Halo Infinite, but a few of the other ones of their other first-party IPs. I'm intrigued by. I'm not going to lie to you, I'm intrigued by. I will be getting my PlayStation 5. Who knows, I might buy the Xbox Series X as well. But guys, there's going to be a lot more content coming your way with these new consoles. I can't wait to bring that to you. Neither can the rest of the guys. Thank you so much for joining us today, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care. Okay, so thank you very much for watching today. Did you enjoy the video? Please let us know in the comments down below. Leave the video a like, and don't forget to subscribe to Enigmatic Play and the rest of our channels if you haven't done so already. Take care guys, bye bye!